My phone buzzes against the metal nurse's station counter. The fraud alert notification cutting through the steady beep of monitors in the ICU. 12 hours into my shift. My eyes burn from fatigue as I tap the screen. The number that appears makes my stomach drop. $7,250 unauthorized charge. I nearly drop my stethoscope, my hands suddenly trembling as I read further. 5 airline tickets to Santorini purchased today. I scroll through the transaction details, each name appearing like a slap. Richard and Lillian Harper, Spencer and Reagan Harper, and Megan Tanner, Reagan's best friend since college. My name is nowhere on the list. The final detail hits like a blow to the chest. The transaction used my own credit card. Just last week, I sat at my parents' gleaming cherrywood dining table, watching Mom fold her linen napkin with perfect hospital corners. Her voice had been casual, almost bored. Tickets are $1,450 each. If you can't afford that, it's best you sit this one out. I had nodded, swallowing around the lump in my throat, not admitting that after covering Spencer's car repair last month, my savings were thin. Their dismissal had stung, but this was theft. That night, I'd returned to work, staring at patient charts while fighting back tears. Dr. Stevens had passed me in the hallway, his eyes catching mine before quickly looking away. He'd seen this before. Claire, returning from family gatherings with red-rimmed eyes, throwing herself into her work as though she could scrub away disappointment with antiseptic and focused care. Now standing in the same hospital corridor, I unlock my phone with steady purpose. The trembling in my hands subsides as I call the credit card company, locking my account and filing a dispute. The representative's voice is soothing, validating. "This is clearly fraud, Miss Harper. We'll handle it." My phone chirps with an incoming text half an hour after I end the call. "Spencer, something's wrong with the tickets. Can you fix it?" I stand straighter, shoulders back as I type. "Like you said, I stayed behind." The hospital corridor suddenly feels different, brighter somehow. I change every password I have from banking apps to email accounts. My Amazon account where they'd clearly stored my credit card information, my Apple ID, everything. A weight lifts from my chest as I tuck my phone away and return to my patients. Mr. Jenkins needs his medication, and Mrs. Torres will want an update on her husband's surgery. Their needs are clear, honest, unlike my family's. Within an hour, my phone vibrates continuously in my pocket. Missed calls from Mom, Dad, Spencer, Reagan. Voicemails stack up alongside increasingly frantic texts. "What's wrong with you?" "Dad's furious. They're going to miss their flight." I silence my phone, sliding it into my locker during my brief lunch break. My hands no longer shake. Instead, a strange calm settles over me as I realize what's at stake. I'll be the difficult daughter now. The one who ruined the family trip. The ungrateful nurse who doesn't understand what family means. For the first time, I see it clearly. I've never been their daughter or sister. I've been their financial safety net. The responsible when they call when bills come due or emergencies arise. The one who gives and gives while they take and take. Standing before my locker, I press my palm against the cool metal. Not anymore. I whisper the words of promise to myself. By the time my shift ends, there are 17 missed calls, 9 voicemails, and 32 text messages. I delete them all without listening or reading, the weight of obligation falling away with each tap of my finger. Tomorrow they'll try again. They'll escalate, they'll manipulate, but tonight, for the first time in years, I drive home without their voices in my head telling me what I owe them. My apartment feels hollow tonight, the silence broken only by the hum of my refrigerator and the occasional car passing outside. 3 days have passed since I locked my credit card and changed all my passwords. I've been screening calls, deleting voicemails, and working extra shifts to avoid thinking about what comes next. The call from my bank changes everything. "Miss Harper, we've completed our preliminary investigation," says Marcus, the fraud specialist I've been working with. His voice carries a note of concern that makes my stomach tighten. "There's something you should know about the Santorini charges." I sit heavily on my couch, one hand clutching my phone, the other pressed against my chest. "What did you find?" "The authorized user account that made those purchases. It belongs to Spencer Harper." My breathing exercises fail me as my heart races against my ribs. "That's impossible." I removed Spencer as an authorized user 2 years ago when he got married. According to our records, the account was reactivated 4 months ago through our online portal using your login credentials. The room tilts slightly, not an impulse theft, not a desperate moment. For months of planning, of deliberate deception from my own brother, there's more. Marcus continues, his voice gentle now. We found a pattern of smaller purchases dating back to when the account was reactivated. Electronic stores, restaurants, sporting goods. I pressed my eyes shut as memories flashed through my mind like a sickening slideshow. The lease I co-signed for Spencer's first apartment. The emergency loan when Reagan's car broke down. The expensive birthday gifts I couldn't afford but bought anyway because that's what family does. 12 years of financial support culminating in theft. The total unauthorized charges including the airline tickets come to $9,540. My breathing steadies as something hardens inside me. Thank you, Marcus. I want to pursue this to the fullest extent. We'll continue our investigation, Miss Harper. In the meantime, my phone beeps with an incoming call. Mom again. I need to go. I tell Marcus, please email me your findings. I switch to Mom's call, putting it on speaker as I stand and walk to my living room window. Rain patters against the glass, distorting the street lights below into watery stars. Claire, this has gone on long enough. Mom's voice fills my apartment, sharp with impatience. Your father and I have been trying to reach you for days. I've been busy. The rain intensifies, matching my mood. Too busy to respond to your family. Spencer and Reagan are devastated about their trip. Their trip on my credit card. Dad's voice cuts in. Honey, this is all just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I repeat, watching raindrops race down my window. Is that what we're calling fraud now? You're overreacting, Dad says, his tone dismissive. These things happen in families. Theft happens in families. Good to know. Spencer's voice joins the chorus. Sis, I meant to ask you first. Things got hectic with planning, and I just stole $9,000 from me. My voice remains steady, surprising me. It wasn't like that. Reagan's tearful voice pierces through. You're ruining everything for everyone because you're jealous. You always do this. Make everything about you when we're trying to be happy. I press my forehead against the cool glass. How long have you known Spencer was using my card, Mom? The silence stretches until Mom clears her throat. Well, he mentioned borrowing it for some small things. We assumed you were aware. You assumed. The rain blurs the world outside, matching my vision. Is this how you repay everything we've done for you? Mom's voice hardens. After all the sacrifices we made, your father's retirement party is next month. How will this look? I turn away from the window. Like theft is consequences. Don't be dramatic. Dad interjects. Remember who co-signed your nursing school loans. This family has always supported you. The threat isn't subtle. I sit at my kitchen table calculating exactly what financial independence will cost. Refinancing my loans. Possibly changing jobs if Dad makes calls to his hospital board friends. Finding a new apartment my family doesn't have keys to. You need help, Claire, Spencer says, his voice dripping with concern that doesn't reach his words. I'm worried about you. Everyone at the hospital knows how hard you've been working. If they heard about this mental breakdown, don't threaten me, Spencer. My voice comes out low and dangerous, startling even myself. My phone chirps with an email notification from Marcus. Subject line, fraud investigation confirmation. I need to go, I say, cutting off whatever new manipulation was coming. The bank's fraud department just confirmed my dispute is valid. They're launching a full investigation. I end the call before they can respond, opening the email instead. Official letterhead. Case number, confirmation that all charges will be reversed pending investigation. As I set my phone down that night, I wonder if I should simply distance myself from my family or formally document every penny they've taken. Cutting ties might bring immediate peace, but creating a record might force accountability. What would you do when those who should protect you become the ones you need protection from? 2 days later, the supervisor's office feels smaller than usual as she slides a printed email across her desk. The fluorescent lights cast shadows under her eyes, making her concern look more like suspicion. Your mother called yesterday. Director Palmer taps the paper with her French-tipped nail. She's worried about your mental health. The words land like a slap. I keep my face neutral though my pulse quickens. My mental health is fine, She mentioned erratic behavior, mood swings. Director Palmer studies me with the same careful assessment she uses for unstable patients. Said, "You've been working too many shifts." I work exactly the hours I'm scheduled. My voice remains steady despite the heat rising up my neck, plus the occasional voluntary overtime. She suggested, "You might be having a breakdown from overwork." Of course she did. I picture Mom on the phone, voice honeyed with concern while systematically undermining my credibility at the one place I feel competent and valued. "My performance reviews are excellent," I say. "My patient care is uncompromised." Director Palmer nods slowly. "That's why I found the call concerning." I leave her office with my evaluation signed exceeds expectations in every category, but my hands tremble with rage as I turn my phone back on. 3 missed calls from Aunt Judith, 1 from my cousin Melissa, a text from Dad's golf buddy asking if everything's okay. Spencer's social media updates flash on my screen. Some family ties are more like chains. Toxic people never admit when they're the problem. Reagan's tearful selfie beneath it has 17 sympathetic comments. They're building a fortress of manufactured concern around me, and it's working. Back home, I check my accounts, a habit that now sends my heart racing. The emergency fund I've maintained since nursing school has dwindled by almost $4,000. Connected accounts, automatic transfers I never authorized. I sink onto my bed, breathing exercises failing to slow my galloping pulse. For 3 years, I've covered Spencer's car insurance just until he gets that promotion. Last Christmas, I paid for Mom's knee surgery copay when Dad was temporarily short. Reagan's graduate school application fees. Each night I lie awake calculating the total $9,540 and counting. The number cycles through my mind at 3 o'clock a.m. when sleep should come. At 4 o'clock a.m. I finally drift off only to jolt awake an hour later wondering what else they've taken that I haven't discovered yet. I start keeping meticulous records. Every check I've written, every Venmo transfer with a cheerful emoji that masked my growing resentment, every credit card charge that wasn't mine. Just gathering documentation from my accountant. I tell the bank representative who helps me access to years of transaction history later that morning. His eyes hold a flash of recognition. He's seen this before. My phone continues to buzz with concerned relatives. Each night, I record audio notes in a password-protected app. The 12th of April, Spencer claimed his checking account was frozen due to suspected fraud. Borrowed $600 for rent. Still hasn't repaid despite 3 promotions since then. May 29th, Mom suggested I was being obsessive about money when I mentioned Spencer's unpaid loans. The 8th of July, Dad claimed he never heard about Spencer using my credit card until now, despite being at the airport with him when the charges were declined. The recording keeps my thoughts ordered when their voices threaten to drown out my own certainty. Wednesday morning next week, I arrive for my shift to find a coffee cup on the nurse's station counter with my name written on it. Dr. Stevens nods from across the corridor, his silver hair catching the light. Under the cup is a folded note. "Whatever you're going through, you're handling it with grace." Some family trees need pruning to stay healthy. The small kindness nearly breaks me. I tuck the note into my pocket and carry its weight like armor through my shift. That evening, a knock at my apartment door makes my stomach clench. Through the peephole, I see Dad's weathered face, the familiar creases around his eyes deeper than usual. "Your mother sent me to reason with you," he says as soon as I open the door, not bothering with hello. This whole thing is getting out of hand. I step back, allowing him in, but maintaining distance. "It got out of hand when you watched Spencer steal from me and said nothing." Dad sighs heavily, setting his keys on my counter with the presumption of someone who expects to stay a while. "Look, I know Spencer made a mistake. A mistake is accidental. He deliberately used my card for months. He's offering to pay back half," Dad says like he's presenting a generous settlement. "We can smooth this over before your mother's birthday next month." I laugh, the sound hollow even to my own ears. Half of money that was stolen from me. He's family Claire. So am I? The words come out stronger than I expected. "I'm not angry that you need help. I'm angry that you took without asking." Dad's face shifts, surprise replacing his practiced patience. "We didn't, you did. All of you for years." I realize as I say it that it's true. This isn't about one credit card charge. It's about a lifetime of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who gives until there's nothing left. We're your family, Dad repeats as if the word alone should erase everything. Family asks, family respects boundaries. Family doesn't drain someone's emergency fund and then call their boss to question their mental stability. Dad leaves without the reconciliation he came for, and I slide the deadbolt behind him with a finality that feels like freedom. The next morning, my phone pings with an unexpected message from Elise, Spencer's ex-wife. I saw Spencer's posts. You should know he did the same to me. I have records of everything if you need them. Dr. Stevens catches me in the hallway later that day. We're short-staffed next weekend. Double time for the overnight shifts if you're interested. I notice he doesn't ask why I need the money or offer sympathy. Just practical support with no strings attached. The contrast to my family's constant demands is startling. That night I open a fresh spreadsheet. Line by line, I document every loan, every gift, every financial contribution I've made to my family over the years. The final figure, $9,540, stares back at me. A precise accounting of years of financial manipulation. As I work, an email arrives from Aunt Judith. Needed to discuss some inconsistencies in the family trust accounts. Call me when you can. My finger hovers over the share button on my spreadsheet. The family group chat one click away. For the first time in years, I feel not just anger but power. The clean, clarifying power of truth backed by evidence. The invoice is ready to send. The sun streams through my kitchen window as I finalize the invoice. I'm using accounting software from the hospital's financial literacy workshop designed for billing insurance companies, not family members. Each entry appears in crisp, professional formatting. Dates, descriptions, amounts, all categorized with clinical precision. My fingers hover over the keyboard, steady now, unlike when I discovered the credit card theft. As of the 1st of June, I will no longer be contributing financially to the family. Repayment is expected within 45 business days. I type the words and attach the PDF, $9,540. Every cent accounted for, every loan documented. I hit send before I can second guess myself, watching the email whoosh away to 5 recipients: Mom, Dad Spencer Reagan, and Aunt Martha, who manages the family trust. My phone rings within minutes. I ignore it, focusing instead on forwarding Elise's evidence to Aunt Martha in a separate email. Spencer's ex-wife had messaged me last night with bank statements showing a pattern of financial manipulation dating back years. I should have shown you these when we were still married, she wrote. I was afraid no one would believe me. Aunt Martha's response arrives while I'm packing an overnight bag. I've noticed financial irregularities in Spencer's trust withdrawals. This explains quite a bit. Can we speak when you return? A weight lifts from my shoulders as I book a weekend getaway to Asheville. A small bed and breakfast nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, 3 hours away. Just far enough to be unreachable. I power down my phone before pulling out of my apartment complex, savoring the silence. The family chaos erupts while I'm gone. Dr. Stevens gives me the highlights when I return to work Monday morning, his salt and pepper eyebrows raised over reading glasses. Your brother has been busy, he says, sliding a coffee across the nurse's station. He's telling everyone you doctored those financial records to make him look bad. I take a sip, unsurprised. Let me guess, it backfired, spectacularly. That ex-wife of his, Elise, she posted additional evidence to the family group chat, bank statements, text messages, the works. Your cousin Caroline called me looking for you. Said she always wondered where your brother's money came from. I shake my head, remembering Mom's frantic voicemails. 8 of them waited when I turned my phone back on, each more desperate than the last. She'd apparently launched an emotional campaign, calling relatives to rally support against my cruel treatment of Spencer. The result, 5 separate family members contacted me privately expressing support. Uncle David's text was particularly satisfying. About time someone called them out. Your grandfather would be proud. That's not even the best part. Dr. Stevens continues, lowering his voice. The bank called Spencer for an interview about potential fraud patterns. I should feel victorious. Instead, a hollow ache spreads beneath my ribs as I realize how thoroughly my family's financial house of cards is collapsing. Later that evening, as I pack for another weekend away, this time to a lakeside cabin with actual fishing, I wonder if seeking full repayment is enough or if I need to permanently distance myself from people who saw me as a resource rather than a daughter and sister. Would you sever ties completely or maintain limited contact? The next week brings unexpected allies. Elise sends additional bank statements highlighting dates when Spencer withdrew money immediately before I loaned him similar amounts. The pattern is unmistakable once laid bare. I kept these records because our divorce attorney needed them. She explains over coffee. I never thought they'd help you too. Aunt Martha calls next. I've temporarily frozen Spencer's access to certain accounts pending a full review, she says, her voice carrying the crisp authority that always intimidated me as a child. This isn't just about you, Claire. The trust has fiduciary responsibilities. The most surprising call comes from HR at Dad's former accounting firm. Miss Harper, we're reviewing some historical expense reports filed by Emery Harper that show concerning patterns. We understand you've recently raised questions about family financial practices. Would you be willing to answer a few questions? I agree, providing only factual responses, neither defending nor condemning my father. The conversation leaves me nauseous but resolute. The family's financial house of cards continues its collapse throughout the week. Each new revelation should bring satisfaction, but I feel only a dull, persistent ache when I think about what we've become. I take extra shifts at the hospital, finding comfort in the straightforward problems of patient care. Reagan's social media campaign begins Thursday. First come vague posts about unfair treatment and family betrayal. By Saturday, she's sharing tearful videos describing their sudden financial hardship and how they might have to cancel their anniversary trip to Maui. Dad loses his consulting privileges at his former firm after their investigation concludes. He doesn't call to tell me I learned from Uncle David, who sounds more disappointed than surprised. The most unexpected development arrives in a series of text messages from extended family members. Cousin Caroline, I had no idea what was happening. I'm so sorry I didn't see it. Uncle Robert, your grandmother would be horrified at how they've treated you. Aunt Susan, we should have intervened years ago. Mom's message comes last, surprisingly brief after weeks of emotional tirades. We need to resolve this once and for all. Family dinner, Sunday at 5. Your father and I will cook. I stare at the screen, sensing the final confrontation approaching. For the first time in years, I feel no obligation to say yes. On Sunday, I arrive at my parents' house 15 minutes early, parking across the street rather than in the driveway. The April sun warms my face through the windshield as I review my notes one last time. Each figure, each date, each transaction, meticulously documented. I've prepared for this meeting like I would for the most critical patient handoff. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom. We're ready whenever you are ready. As if this were a casual family dinner instead of what it truly is, their last attempt to maintain control. When I enter through the front door, the forced normalcy hits me first. Dad's reading glasses perched on the coffee table beside his worn leather recliner. Mom's fresh-cut tulips arranged in the crystal vase I gave her 3 Christmases ago. The familiar scent of lemon furniture polish. Spencer and Reagan sit stiffly on the sofa, their usual sprawl replaced by perfect posture. Spencer's hair is neatly combed, Reagan's makeup subdued. This calculated presentation isn't lost on me, Claire, Mom says, her smile tight as she motions to the armchair facing all of them. Thank you for coming. We've been so worried. I take the seat, setting my messenger bag beside me. I appreciate the concern. Dad clears his throat, fingers tapping a nervous rhythm against his knee. We think there's been a misunderstanding about the credit card situation. A misunderstanding, I repeat, the word hollow. We'd like to propose a compromise, Spencer says, leaning forward with uncharacteristic earnestness. We can arrange partial repayment of the airline tickets if you'll drop this whole investigation. Mom nods eagerly. It's what's best for moving forward together as a family. As a family, Dad echoes, his gaze skittering away from mine. I let the silence stretch between us until Mom shifts uncomfortably in her seat. You know, she says finally, voice dropping to a concerned whisper. Dr. Harris mentioned you've been under tremendous stress at the hospital lately. Sometimes stress can make us vindictive about small misunderstandings. The familiar heat rises in my chest, but this time I welcome it. This anger has become my compass. I brought something to share with you, I say, reaching into my bag. I pull out a leather portfolio, my graduation gift from Dad when I finished nursing school, and place it on the coffee table. Inside is a stack of papers organized by date, credit card statements, bank transfers, text messages. Each page represents a moment when my family treated my financial stability as their emergency fund. This is 8 years of financial manipulation, I say, voice steady as I lay out the pages one by one. Spencer's car repair, Reagan's boutique debt, the property tax you couldn't cover last year. Dad, their eyes track my hands as I arrange the evidence between us. I've found a new apartment, I continue, one you don't have keys to. Spencer's jaw tightens. Claire, I've refinanced my nursing school loans without your co-signatures, I add, looking directly at my father. The paperwork was finalized yesterday. Mom's face pales. You can't possibly afford the interest rate on your own. I can and I do. I straighten the edges of the papers. I don't need to prove myself to people who see my success as their safety net. Dad's shoulders slump. We never meant, this isn't about money. I interrupt, surprising myself with my calm. It's about respect. It's about boundaries. You've taught me that I'm only valuable to this family when I'm useful. Dad looks up, something shifting in his expression. We've taken advantage of your reliability, he admits quietly. For years. Mom shoots him a warning glance, but he doesn't look away from me. I stand, walk to the entryway table, and retrieve my set of house keys from my pocket. The metal feels cold against my palm as I place them on the polished wood with a soft click. What are you doing? Mom demands, rising to her feet. Setting boundaries. After everything we've done for you, she says, voice trembling. The dance lessons, the college application fees, that's the problem, I cut in. You think basic parental support was a loan I need to repay forever. The silence that follows feels electric. Spencer stares at the floor, then looks up with reddened eyes. I used your card without permission, he confesses, voice cracking. Not just for the tickets. For months, I knew your Amazon password. I set up autofill for your card information. Reagan's composure finally breaks. I knew about it, she whispers. We both did. Your card was declined at the airport because we'd already maxed it out on other things. I absorbed this final betrayal with unexpected steadiness. And you? I say, turning to Dad, did you know too? He nods once, unable to meet my eyes. I can't do this anymore. I tell them, retrieving my portfolio but leaving the keys. I deserve better than being your ATM. As I reach the door, Dad calls after me. Will we see you again? I pause, hand on the doorknob. That depends on whether you want a daughter or a bank account. The door closes softly behind me. I walk to my car without looking back, the weight of their expectations finally lifted from my shoulders. 3 weeks later, rumors reach me through hospital gossip. Spencer's facing potential fraud charges from his own bank. Apparently, my credit card wasn't the only one he'd been using. Mom and Dad have gone silent, their usual weekly calls conspicuously absent. Dad shows up at my new apartment on a rainy Tuesday evening. His eyes are bloodshot as he stands in my doorway, refusing to come inside. I enabled all of it, he says simply. I should have protected you, not used you. I'm sorry, Claire. I accept his words with a nod, but make no promises. The following month, a certified envelope arrives at my apartment. In Dot's side is a check for exactly $9,540. The precise amount for my invoice. No note accompanies it. None is needed. As I place the check on my kitchen counter, I realize with startling clarity that freedom isn't about forgiveness. Sometimes it's about finally being seen. 3 months later, the light streams through uncovered windows in my new apartment, casting warm patterns across freshly painted walls. No more of the murky beige that had surrounded me for years now. Vibrant teal and sunny yellow brighten every corner. I hang a watercolor landscape, one I painted myself last weekend, adjacent to the window where morning light hits it perfectly. My phone chimes from the kitchen counter. For the first time in months, my shoulders don't tense at the sound. No more dread when checking notifications. No more anxiety about unexpected charges or family demands. How's the new place looking? Dr. Stevens texts with a photo of house plants from the hospital gift shop. I send him a quick photo of my expanding collection already thriving on my eastern-facing balcony. Beyond the plants, Denver skyline glimmers in the distance. After my shift tonight, I'm leading a financial literacy workshop for new nurses. Protecting your financial health while caring for others seems like the perfect topic after everything I've learned. Already, 3 younger nurses have scheduled private consultations about family financial boundaries. My easel stands in the corner, no longer collecting dust in storage. Last night, I stayed up until 2 o'clock, working on a landscape of the Colorado mountains, where I'll be hiking this weekend. The freedom to lose myself in painting again feels almost decadent after years of not enough time. My phone chimes again. This time, it's a family group text. Another Harper family gathering next weekend. Mom has included me in the invitation list. Her first attempt at contact since the check arrived. I type a simple response. Thank you for thinking of me. I have other plans that weekend. No apologies, no elaborate excuses, just a clear, calm boundary. Instead, I'll be meeting Jonah for dinner at that new restaurant overlooking the river, our third date. The anesthesiologist's calm presence and direct communication style have been refreshing after years of navigating my family's emotional minefields. Last week over coffee, he asked about my family. The question didn't trigger my usual anxiety. We're taking some space from each other right now, I told him, surprised by how easily the words came. They crossed some boundaries I needed to establish. He nodded, understanding without demanding details. Family relationships can be complicated. Doesn't mean they're bad people or that you don't love them. Exactly, I replied, grateful for his perception. I'm just learning that love doesn't have to cost me my peace. Tonight, Elise, Dr. Stevens, and my aunt are coming over to celebrate what Elise jokingly calls my financial independence day. A small gathering of people who supported me when I needed it most, expecting nothing in return. My aunt called yesterday to confirm she was bringing dessert. I have something for you, she mentioned, just a small gift to mark the occasion. When they arrive, her package sits on my new coffee table, a framed calligraphy quote. You are not responsible for other people's comfort at the cost of your peace. The words shimmer against a watercolor background in my favorite blues and greens. We toast with sparkling cider in my new glasses. To boundaries that protect peace, Dr. Stevens offers, and people who respect them, too. The next morning, I drive to Denver Memorial Hospital's foundation office. The woman behind the desk looks surprised when I hand her a check for exactly $9,540. I'd like this to establish a scholarship for nursing students who are supporting family members. I explain, sometimes the caregivers need care too. Walking back to my car, I feel lighter than I have in years. On my dashboard sits my confirmation for the Advanced Cardiac Certification program I've applied for, alongside a brochure for the Telluride weekend Jonas suggested for next month. Back home, I pause before the shadow box hanging in my living room. The cash check for my family mounted beside my old house keys. Not a trophy of victory, but a reminder of growth. Standing on my balcony, I water my new plants as morning light spills across the city. As I watch the sunrise from my own space, I wonder if forgiveness is always necessary for healing, or if sometimes the best closure is simply moving forward without looking back. What would you choose?